Welcome to Every Coach Needs a Coach, the podcast for coaches of all sports and all age groups to learn from coaches and people they may otherwise never have the chance to meet. Today's See One, Do One, Teach One, we're continuing with our word of behavior. And I want you to imagine for a second. Imagine you're in your young mid-20s. Something doesn't feel right, so you go to the doctor. The doctor tells you you have chronic kidney failure. If you want to continue living the way that you are, if you want to live basically to see next week or even tomorrow, you need to be on dialysis 3 days a week for 3 hours at a time for literally the rest of your life if you want to survive. What do you do? How does your behavior change? What does your day-to-day life look like if that's the news that you get? Do you say, all right, no, it's not worth doing that, right? I'll die next week. I've made all the impact I want to make. I'm done. Do you give up everything else that you love doing? Say, well, there goes 9 hours a week for me. I guess I just got to go to dialysis. I'll just live a normal life as best I can, but I won't do the things that I want to do. I won't spend time with my family, and I won't do any hobbies or any activities. Or do you say, okay, what I heard is that I have a chance at life. I have a second chance at life that I never would have gotten if it wasn't for dialysis. There's 3 ways that we can, there's probably more than 3, but there's at least 3 ways that we can react to news like that. And the reason that I want you to imagine that is because one of the best mentors that I ever could have asked for was a guy named Mark Teshkoyan, who was my soccer coach in high school and my softball coach in high school. He was the assistant to his brother, Mike. And he got that news in his mid to late 20s, I think. And he was coaching at the time, and he was a wood shop teacher at the high school. And I cannot think of a better example of behaving in such a way that you want your players to behave. This man, you would never know that he went to dialysis 3 nights a week for 3 hours, that he would leave practice or leave games at the same time as everybody else. And he wouldn't go home. He'd go to the dialysis center half an hour away, and he would sit there 3 hours, and he was making friends with the nurses. He was having as best a time as he could. And then he'd drive home at midnight, and he'd wake up at 7, 6 in the morning, whatever, and he'd do it all again the next day. You would never know that he had an issue until you asked him about it. And the only way you could ask him about it is he had a port, and he would wear like an Under Armour sweatband over it. He used to say, Coach Mark, what's that for? Oh, this is for my dialysis. What's dialysis? Oh, my kidneys don't work. Oh, I have to go to dialysis 3 nights a week for 3 hours. Oh, suddenly my 17-year-old, 16-year-old high school problems didn't seem so big. And I'm so forever grateful for his example of how to behave, right? How to keep things in perspective when you get, news like that. So that's my challenge for you, right? But we've talked about it all week. Behave the way you want your kids to behave. Set the example that you want them to live by. Coach Mark was the absolute best example of behaving in such a way and living in such a way that every day counted, right? He knew what he was here to do, and my goodness, he did it. And quite unfortunately, in January of 2021, he passed away from cancer and a long-standing battle with that chronic kidney disease. But my goodness, the celebrations of life that happened for him in that time showed what an example that he was. This is by no means a tribute to him. It doesn't do him justice. But I want to share a story because of the word is behavior for the week. And man, what a way. What a way to behave. What a way to act. I'm forever grateful for his example. And I'm forever grateful for you guys for listening to it and giving me the chance to talk about him because I miss him. And every game I coach, every kid I coach, a little piece of him goes into that too. So I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Keep on getting better every day.